Hey, gang. Mm. Hey, gang. Getting a little closer now to when the episodes come out. The second episode's very interesting. There's a little social commentary subtext to it. We start out in an old movie theater. Uh, this is old because they're showing a movie tone news. And then we have a cartoon of a character called Ring-a-Ding. And while it's playing, a bit of energy comes down through moonlight, bounces off a spoon into projection booth onto the film, which then gets, or the projector, which then gets traveled through the light onto the screen, and suddenly, Ring-a-Ding is a living entity. It was still two-dimensional cartoon, and it emerges from the screen, and everything goes black. We then cut back to the TARDIS, where the Doctor's trying to figure out why they keep bouncing off the date he needs to return Belinda. So they're going to need to triangulate a signal. So he goes to an earlier time period, 1952. And I believe they are in Miami, Florida. So we have to have a quick costume change to more period appropriate. Although there is an anomaly when they're playing a rockabilly sounding tune over this sequence, but I don't think rockabilly really hit till about 55 maybe with Bill Haley. Well, I can always look that up later. Not that it matters. So the Doctor gets the signal set up, and then he notices there's a theater that's chained up. It's abandoned. How odd. And why chained? Are they keeping something out or something in? He's got to investigate. He can't help himself. And Belinda reluctantly agrees. They go into a diner where the counterman supplies some information. And it's at this point, Belinda gets a bit of a disconcerting history lesson. Because there was a woman who lost her son 3 months ago at that theater. That was the night we saw first. And, well, if she's willing to talk to them, they can talk to her, but, it's not something that, might get them in trouble. But, this late at night, he's willing to overlook rules. But then there's like, what rules? At which point the Doctor then gives her a brief rundown on the time period, i.e., it is illegal for them to be in that diner. It is a segregated place, much like the theater is. She thinks that's horrible. Don't we all in this time and place now, looking back on it? But back then, that was the way it was, sadly. So they talk to the woman, and she spends every night there waiting for her son to return. Oh, it's heart wrenching. Anyway, they then go over to the theater where the Doctor uses his sonic to unlock one of the chains around the thing. It seems that they're hearing a Western playing. And the counterman helpfully tells him that that's the projectionist. He goes there every night and plays films for an empty audience. So they creep in, and the Western shuts down, and Rinky Dink appears. He is a living entity, and the Doctor's very disturbed by this. I mean, he's intrigued as always, but very disturbed. How does this being exist, and why an old cartoon character? Basically, he's light that is alive. That is how it is. And at this point, while they're questioning him, he reveals he's a harbinger. Which, of course, last season, this brings back memories of the master gamer, game master. I can't remember his name. I'll look it up. And all the things he went to, and he gives him his name, Lux Imperator, God of Light. And they're chased up to the projection booth, and the projection is like, you shouldn't be here. And he says, why is he there? Well, the Lux likes to have films played for him. And in return, the projectionist has a home movie of his wife who, as he describes it, went across the street one day and never came back. And as he plays that home movie, Lux will bring her out of that film, and they can be together for a brief period of time. That's their agreement. Well, about this time, Belinda notices that all the missing people, they're trapped in a strip of film, the film he was showing that night. Well, Lux then slides under the door into the projection booth, and he knows who the doctor is, and he gives him a riddle on how to defeat himself. And then he traps them in a film, cartoon film. And they are now cartoon characters. But the doctor recognizes any real human emotions, especially sadness, will help them revert to a three-dimensional character, which works. Then they've got to figure out how to get off the film. So, let's see. How does he do this? He figures you have to break the film. So they go through a lot of gyrations and ripping and pulling. And they escape back to the theater, where a policeman shows up with the mother. And he arrests them for being in a segregated place. It's then that the doctor notices they're in Florida, but the man's wearing a New York City police uniform. They did not escape the film. At which point, they revert back to the animated thing. So they must have to go through the screen. So they go up to the screen, press against it, pop it out. And then they climb out. Well, they've climbed out of a TV set. There's three people sitting here watching them. The doctor's biggest fans. They've seen every episode. And they explain to him that he's a character in a TV show. At which point we get a really funny argument over the best episode. And they keep saying blink. And he's like, no. The one where I was stuck on the bomb, that's the best. No, blink. And then, of course, Belinda asks, what happened in Blink? Oh, well, you couldn't blink. That's it? Yeah, pretty much. It's then the doctor realizes they're still trapped in the film. And these people don't really exist. And they know they don't exist. But they're willing to sacrifice themselves. If the doctor goes back, they will cease to exist. But they're okay with that. He gave them something. Hope. So they go back in. Well, still in the film. How do they get out? The doctor realizes he was given the clue, which is also reiterated by the three fans. And so he and Belinda grab onto the film and hold it, keep it from moving, which causes it to jam in the projector, which the heat of the projector will now start burning the film. And once the film burns open enough, they can slip through and they're back in the real world. Well, uh, that's all fine and dandy, but uh, Lux, the doctor was injured during this. He was burned, but he has still some bigenerational energy left, and he heals himself, which Lux finds very interesting. And he wraps the doctor up in film and sends him up to the front of the projector so that the light shines through him, and he can now pull that generation energy, by regenerational energy into himself and become real instead of a two-dimensional being. And so he's draining this from the doctor, and the doctor tells Belinda, film, burn. And she gets it. She has to burn all the film. So she runs up to the room where all the film's kept. It's highly flammable. It's older film, silver nitrate and all that. And she pulls it all out, down, but she doesn't match. So she goes to the projection booth. He's locked the door. She's begging him. The Lux is killing the doctor. And he's reluctant. He doesn't want to give up, what he has. And then his wife appears. Because remember, she's been being pulled out of things, and so she appears before him with a book of matches. And he says, I miss you. I don't want to lose you. She goes, then go look for me. And hands him the matches. That gives him the impetus. He opens the door, tells Belinda to run. Which she does. He goes in, throws all the lit matches onto the film, and then shuts the door and goes out himself. At which point there's a huge explosion. I mean, this huge hole from projection booth through the outer wall. Dawn has risen, and light is coming through. The doctor was blown loose, of course, and sunlight is coming through, and Lux is just absorbing it, and growing bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until he leaves the cinema and goes up into the sky, into the bright sun and the outer atmosphere, and gets bigger and bigger and bigger until he's become infinite and one with all the light in the universe. And as a residual of this, all the people that were trapped in the film have been freed, and they all come out and they reunite with everyone. The mother reunites with her son, and the counterman is explaining they've been missing for 3 months and everything. And Mrs. Flood pops up and says, you think that's something? Watch this. And everybody turns and watches the TARDIS disappear. As the doctor goes on to the next point in their... it's going to take a while for him to get to the exact spot. They're going to have to hit a lot of different places. And then she says, oh, you don't want to miss the ending on May 22nd. I was like, oh, that was a good one. Nice little shot there of foreshadowing the end of the season. Really good episode. Got a nice little bit of social commentary, but nothing too over the top where they kind of hit you over the head with it. It's mentioned a couple of times and they move on. Now, some will say this probably looked familiar for like Shocker, where the villain and the hero were bouncing in and out of TV shows, or Last Action Hero, where a moviegoer was sucked into an Arnold Schwarzenegger film. But for me, it's more reminiscent of the old Daffy Duck cartoon, Duck Amuck, in which Daffy is trapped in a cartoon and an animator just keeps torturing him with changing scenery, changing costumes, changing him, It's revealed at the end it's Bugs Bunny just screwing with him. But that's what it reminds me more because they went into an animated area. But it's probably bits of all three. And I like the bit about him reminding him of Harbinger, and that brings back, Neil Patrick Harris's character and the other one that the Beatles episode they did. So that was kind of neat. Yeah, that's two episodes, two callbacks to earlier episodes. Actually, this episode had two callbacks in it because he also called back the same episode that was called back last week. And I like to call back to Blink because that is one of the best episodes. The Doctor's hardly in it, but that was the introduction of um, the Angels. The characters that if you blink, they can move and touch you, but as long as you don't blink, they can't move. Yeah. Weeping Angels. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, really good flick. Another good episode. Really looking forward to the next one. I think they're going to be on a mining thing in outer space or something. Looks really interesting and spooky. You know me, I love my spooky stuff. So, yeah, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And until next, see you next time.